Well, hi friends! You guys want to learn how to paint some pumpkins with me for October? This is how we're going to do it. Let me show you, at least on this first piece of paper, how you're going to draw your pumpkins. And we're going to draw 5 of them. Pretend like this is my pencil, but just for you guys right now, so you can see a nice strong image, I'm going to show you how to draw a pumpkin. With your pencil, you're going to figure out a few different shapes. Maybe an oval, maybe you want kind of a rounded triangle, or maybe on your piece of paper. Actually, you can even practice this on your own piece of paper. You can figure out some different shapes, perfect circle, something like that. Do you see how I've drawn a few different lines? What you can do with your pencil is use these kind of searching lines to find the shape that you want. Then we're going to make all of these into a pumpkin sitting on a gate. 5 different sizes, 5 different shapes, or 5 different stretches of a circle. Think about what you want to do. Maybe practice on a little piece of paper. And what I will say is you can press as hard or soft as you want with your pencil, but when you press softly, if you make a mistake, you can go back and erase some of the extra lines. Maybe then you could even press much harder the second time you go around. So here's my paper. Here's my watercolor paper. I'm gonna draw 5 pumpkins sitting on a gate. And I'll sing you the song that reminds me, or that made me think of this painting. So we're gonna put 5 shapes right here on a gate. 1, 2, 3. Oh, he's a big fat guy. 4. This one's sort of squatty. And maybe we'll put 5 over here. So I like that triangle shape. Do you notice about my pumpkins that the bottoms of them are all just about at the same level? They're pretty much straight across. That's because they're going to be sitting on a gate together. Now at the top of each pumpkin, I'm going to draw a stem. So my pumpkin stem can be fat. Maybe it's actually tall and skinny. Maybe it's even kind of pointed up on one side. If I want to be able to show that the portion of the stem that was cut off, right? Because pumpkins grow on a vine, right? Maybe I can draw something kind of like that. So let's try that. We're going to try to draw some different rectangles up here on the top of our pumpkins. Maybe they get wider at the base. Some of them can be really fat. But you know what's kind of fun about doing this is that each one of my pumpkins is now getting its own personality. All of these pumpkins have their own personality because they're different sizes. Now you might be looking at these and going, wait a minute, I can see through these pumpkins. How can I have both of these pumpkins with lines like this? Well, I'm gonna choose pumpkins that are in the back and pumpkins that are in the front, and they're kind of overlapping. So it looks to me like this guy is in the front and he's behind him because he's taller. That was nice of him to go in the back because he's taller. Let the short guy see. That must mean that he's probably behind this short guy too. Doesn't that kind of look like now he's in the back? And these two are in the front? Oh, this one, look, I didn't even finish that line, so that's okay. I'll leave him in the back too. I'll erase this line over here. Oh, you know what? I can't see through this. I'll erase that one too. You know, if at any point I'm going too fast for you, you can stop this video and you can start over. You can slow motion, you can pause. Now I'm going to go back and I'm going to make these lines a lot darker. There's 1 pumpkin. There's 2 pumpkins. Stop! Now I want to make sure if a pumpkin is in the back that the bottom line isn't below one of the pumpkins that's in front of it, because then it would look like it was floating. This guy a little bit darker. Maybe I'll even make my stems darker too. I really like this tall, skinny one. I'm glad I drew these really, really lightly, because I think I would like to maybe change some of their stems. Maybe I won't erase that line. I'll kind of go up like this. That's a big fat stem on a little tiny guy. Don't forget about the bottom of his friend. And make sure it's higher than the one that's in front of it. Okay. Here we go. I like those pumpkins. Now I'm going to draw my gate. Or fence. A line over here means I'm going to have a line over here. Then what I'm going to do is really lightly draw a line across the whole thing. But I want some posts in my fence. So I'm thinking like this is a post, and that's a post, and that's a post. Maybe I kind of need one more. And this I could see through to maybe the grass on the other side. So let me erase this line. I don't need that line. I don't need that line. Remember, you can press pause. So I'm going to darken my lines now that I know where I want them to be. On some of these, I'm making an adjustment to make it a little straighter or a little better line. Okay. What do you think? I think I made a mistake though. I think I need to move these up, because if I were to travel all the way, like if I were to extend this line all the way over that line, what do you notice about this pumpkin right here and this pumpkin? They're kind of too high. So if you made a mistake too, you're welcome to change and fix any of your mistakes. It's better to fix them now than later after we start to paint. So my line's over here. If you want to use a straight edge, maybe that piece of paper we got out earlier, kind of make sure it's the same height all the way across. That looks good to me. Or if you had a ruler or something, you could do the same thing all the way across. If it's not perfect, that's fine. Like our friends at Art for Kids Hub say, the thing that is most important is to have fun and practice. So I'm going to erase some of those extra lines that I did in the beginning that were drawn really lightly. You can see, or maybe you can't see, but if you draw really, really hard, you can still kind of erase it, but it leaves a little bit of a shadow behind. Like that right there, there's kind of a shadow right there. All right, here I go. I'm going to use watercolor, so that means I need to have a paper towel and my palette and some water and some brushes. I have a smaller brush and I have a larger brush. I have my water and I have my palette. So we're gonna do something kind of fun here. I'm gonna get my clean water and I'm gonna start just by painting some clean water on the first pumpkin. This is a really traditional watercolor technique called wet in wet. Now with yellow, I'm going to paint some yellow on this guy in a few different areas. That's pretty yellow, right? How do we make orange like a pumpkin? Well, I suppose if I tried to mix orange and yellow right here on my painting, I'm sorry, red and yellow on my painting, then it would kind of be a little splotchy. Maybe that's okay. But let me show you, what if I mixed it on my palette instead? What if I did yellow and red together on my palette? Is that a pretty good orange? That's a great orange. Now here's the thing. I kind of like it that it's splotchy. I don't think I want the whole thing to be flat. Or do I? Let's try this again. Kind of experimenting here. Ooh, I smeared it. That's okay. I don't mind. We'll just pretend like he was a messy pumpkin. Okay, so I got this pumpkin wet. Now I'm mixing my yellow and my orange on my palette. And I'm going to say that he is all orange. I don't know, which one do you guys like better? I think I'd like stronger colors on both, so maybe when that dries, I'll come back and I'll put a few more stronger colors. I'm going to leave this one alone and see what happens. But I'm also going to do one more thing over here on this guy while it's wet. I'm going to mix up an orange again, yellow, and red. But this time, I'm going to use a lot of red. So I'm putting a lot of red here on that pumpkin. While I have this red, let's see what it looks like if I didn't get it wet first. I'm mixing again on my palette, my yellow and my red. Hey, that's a stronger color. I wonder why that is. Probably because it's not diluted with all the water. What does diluted mean? That just means it's kind of washed out. Look how strong that color is. That's kind of fun. But I don't think I want just orange pumpkins. I think I want to go back and maybe put a little bit of yellow on this one. Dot, 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 dot. Dot, 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 dot. Little orange. Dot, dot, dot. And it's bleeding still a little because it's still fairly wet. Putting some darker colors down at the bottom. And some dots. You know what, on this one, I'm gonna actually do some brown. Brown is kind of close to orange. And a lot of pumpkins do have some spots on them. Dot, 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 dot. I don't want polka dots, but while it's wet, I know that I can put in some spots. Or some blotches. Kind of like that. What do you think? I even think sometimes, pumpkins have green spots on them, especially if they're not completely ripe yet. I'm gonna put some green spots on this guy because he doesn't look quite as dark as the others. But I think maybe I'll do it on these guys too. Just a couple splotches. Now, do you see that these aren't really dots anymore because the yellow bled? The green is beginning to bleed. The brown was kind of in some dry spots, and so that didn't really bleed as much, but where it's wet, maybe I'll put a couple of browns. I mean, a couple of greens. A couple of greens. Did you know that red plus green equals brown? So now I'm sort of going back to brown. Even though I had green in my paintbrush. What? Okay. When these dry, we're going to come back and do a little bit more to those. But let's go ahead and do these guys. What did you like the most? Do you want to do something a little bit more yellow? Or maybe more orange? Mixing it on your palette first? What about getting it wet first? Did you like to get it wet first, or did you rather start with it dry. The thing about starting with it dry, you do get stronger, bolder color, but you have to work fast and use a bigger paintbrush in order for it to not have dry spots and having it dry out on you. I grabbed some red. I'm gonna put some red. Uh-oh, what's going on? I thought yellow plus red equals orange. Well, you know what? Red is so strong sometimes that it overpowers the yellow. It's okay, I'm still gonna try it. Do you see how dark my pumpkin is at the bottom? This one, I think we're gonna go back to maybe that sort of yellow or yellow-green color. How did he get so big if he's not ripe yet? Well, I don't know. If you stick around to the end, you can hear me singing the song that this painting comes from. What? You want to hear it now? Well, it's a Raffi song. Look at that, I'm adding green. Okay, I'll sing it for you after I put some brown on him. 5 little pumpkins sitting on a gate. The first one said, "Oh my, it's getting late." The second one said, "There's a chill in the air." The third one said, "But we don't care." The fourth one said, "Let's run and run and run." The fifth one said, "I'm ready for some fun." Ooh went the wind and out went the light, and the 5 little pumpkins rolled out of sight. Let's go back and paint some of these stems while we're waiting for the pumpkin bodies to dry. Pumpkin bodies. What are you talking about, lady? Yep, pumpkin bodies. I'm just using brown. Painting in the stems. But you know what? What if I want to add a little bit of green to one of them? Sure, you can do that. 5 little pumpkins sitting on a gate. The first one said, "Oh my, it's getting late." The second one said, "There's a chill in the air." The third one said, "But we don't care." The fourth one said, "Let's run and run and run." The fifth one said, "I'm ready for some fun." Ooh went the wind and out went the light, and the 5 little pumpkins rolled out of sight. The important thing here is that you have fun and you keep practicing. Now that my first 3 pumpkins are probably dry, I'm going to go back maybe with an orange or kind of a brown. And I'm going to add some things to it. The first thing I'm going to do with this one is maybe kind of add sort of like, that's like a smile, isn't it? But if you want to have some shadows, you can take your paintbrush, move it up. Those are kind of like some ridges in the pumpkin, right? Maybe this one too. Let's put some shadow on the bottom of this one. I know he's pretty red already on the bottom, but I want it to be just a little darker. How about him too? Maybe some lighter yellow shadows. Some come up from the bottom, some come down from the top. This one's still a little bit wet. Oh, be careful, he doesn't look like an apple. I think these ridges will help him not quite look so much like an apple. What do you think? It's okay if it does. You know what? Apples are still fall fruits. Just like pumpkins are fall vegetables. They're gourds. And they're gorgeous. Hope that one doesn't look like a pear. Maybe I'll make mine a little more orangey. The ridges help. These lines, they kind of help it not look quite so smooth, like an apple or a pear. And then I suppose if you don't really like all the color variations, you could go back and make everything a little bit more orange. What do you think? Now, I'm gonna wait for this fence post to dry before I paint it. So I'm gonna paint the grass underneath. Do you remember how to make yellow? I mean, how to make green? Oh, I gave half of it away. That's right. Yellow and blue. This time, I'm mixing yellow and blue right over here. Look at that. Yellow and blue. I want a little bit more blue than yellow so that it can be a nice dark green. Because I'm thinking this might be in the evening or at nighttime. So this down here is going to be green. And in a minute, we'll come back. Make it look like there's grass back there. 5 little pumpkins sitting on a gate. The first one said, oh my, it's getting late. Oh, so that must mean it is nighttime. The second one said there's a chill in the air. Because it's fall, you know. It's starting to get chilly. The third one said, but we don't care. Why don't they care? Probably just because they're pumpkins, huh? The fourth one said, let's run and run and run. The fifth one said, I'm ready for some fun. Ooh, went the wind and out went the light, and the 5 little pumpkins rolled out of sight. I'm adding another little square over there. All right, here we go. You ready for something? I told you that wet and wet technique is a major technique for watercolorists. So because you're watercolorists now, you need to learn this technique. Here I am painting the sky. What? Clear? Yep, sure am. Painting the sky clear. Painting the roses red. Nope, I'm painting the sky clear. Use the point of my paintbrush to gently get inside those little stems. This really works better if you have a bigger brush and a brush that comes to a nice fine point. I'm gonna paint my sky. I'm gonna get a really, 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 really dark blue. You know what? I'm gonna say a really strong blue, because sometimes people, when I say dark, sometimes people say, oh, maybe that means black. Well, that's kind of sad. Black is sometimes such a sad color. Oh, hey. So I'm gonna make my colors go right up close to my pumpkins. And then they're just kind of bleeding as they move away, you know, it just kind of fades to clear. I want it dark though, so it doesn't look like daytime. So sometimes I have to really like wiggle my paintbrush around on the paint so I can get really good strong color. If I just touch the paint, it's not very strong sometimes. So let's sing our song and see what else we got going on here. 5 little pumpkins sitting on a gate. Okay, we got 5 pumpkins, and yet they're sitting on a gate. Oh, it dried over here. The first one said, oh my, it's getting late. It must mean it's nighttime, huh? The fourth one said, oh, sorry, the second one said, what did the second one say? First one said, oh my, it's getting late. I don't remember because I'm painting. Can you sing it to me? I'm gonna go back and get my brown. Brown, let's go. Brown, you're all dry. Paint my Kate. Ooh, it's bleeding into the blue. That's okay. Big paintbrush helps. Big, 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 big paintbrush. Big, 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 big paintbrush. I guess, you know, if I was painting a small area, I wouldn't really need a big paintbrush. Maybe I could try to use it. But if I was painting a small area, I probably would want a small paintbrush. Maybe. How's yours looking? You having fun? Definitely the most important job is to have fun and keep practicing. Don't be frustrated because watercolor is really kind of hard to work with sometimes. And that's okay. We don't have to control everything. Lots of times things work better if we don't control it. We just enjoy it for what it is. Like watercolor. I'm putting some shadow kind of underneath these pumpkins. They're sort of casting a shadow on the fence here. Okay, what do you think? You like it? You like all the colors of the pumpkins? Keep trying it. Do it over and over again. Do it several times. Maybe you can do practice run, or you can do the whole painting over and over. Maybe even take a smaller piece of paper and just try one pumpkin at a time. Try different paintbrush sizes and see how that works. Maybe after your paints are soft, maybe your paints will even get a little bit darker too, because when they're really hard and dry, it takes lots of wiggling with the paintbrush to make it darker. Anyway, keep it up, keep having fun, and let me know what you do.